we're doing another comparison video. Last time we did this was really interesting. We compared myself to Sam, who's behind the camera. We're both pretty similar heights, pretty similar builds. I'm a little bit stronger, although we discovered actually Sam is really, really strong. And we had a really good time just comparing ourselves on 3 different climbs and then looking at the differences and talking in detail about it. So we're doing another one of those. But I've got 2 different climbers for this comparison. We've got one climber who is very, very, very strong, but hasn't climbed for very long, and so isn't climbing at a really high grade. And we have another climber who isn't particularly strong, but has a lot of experience and actually climbs at a pretty high level. So this should be a really interesting comparison because you'd think, yeah, obviously stronger climber will always climb harder, but no, not so. Climbing is a skill-based sport, so I'm hoping we'll see some really interesting differences to talk about. Let's talk first about our different experience levels of climbing. How many years have you been climbing for, Sam?
Under a year and a half.
Oh.
I think around 7 years.
Okay, so a little bit longer?
Yeah.
What is the highest grade you've climbed so far, Sam?
Supposedly V6, V7,
Nice.
but it's been banded grades. And
It's always different. So, right? And Kaitlynn, how about you? What's the hardest you've climbed so far?
I think V8.
I would agree. I've seen you climb a lot of V8s. Now let's talk differing strength levels. The most amount of weight you've added to a pull-up before?
60 to 65 kg, which is about 80% of my body weight, so 180%.
Whoa! Kaitlynn, how about yourself?
10 maximum.
Yeah, that's actually not bad though. Oh, you know the 20mm edge on the fingerboard? How do you get on with that? Are you one arm, 2 arm?
Well, 2 arm every day, 1 arm on a good day for about a couple of seconds.
Nice, not bad at all. And Kaitlynn, do you know the edge I mean on the Beastmaker? It's like about that deep.
The bottom one?
Yeah.
I do 10 seconds.
With 1 arm or 2 arms?
2 arms.
Okay, and with 1 arm, how are you doing on that?
I haven't tried 1 arm.
So, okay, as we're seeing, different experience levels. Kaitlynn climbs slightly harder than Sam, but you can see the different strength levels, and we've now talked about the different feats of strength. Sam is, I think, measurably stronger, not just because he's bigger and stronger, but proportionally is also a lot stronger as well. So I think now we'll have a look at you both doing some climbs. We'll see what the differences are. All right, Sam, so boulder number 1, we're looking at the black V4. Yeah. This is the kind of dynamic one that I chose for us. So how are you feeling about this stuff? You like dynamic
Definitely
stuff?
looks like my cup of tea.
Oh, that's
Far
pretty
more
good
of a
then.
dynamic climber than anything else.
Brilliant. Well then, I think you will enjoy this one. So
yeah.
You haven't tried it, no rush at all. Take your time. Go on, Sam. Man, he actually did that really well. Really nice, Sam.
It doesn't look too bad, but definitely not my style.
We've practiced it quite a lot though, so I think you're better at this than you think you are. Let's have a try, let's see how it goes.
Okay.
It's actually quite similar, you both did it really well. Lovely. This is the powerful boulder. We're looking at a black V5 behind us. What do you make of this, Kaitlynn?
It looks quite powerful. The holds don't look that great, but I think it should be okay. Hopefully.
Perfect, all right, you have a go when you're ready. Really nice, Kaitlynn. Yeah, Kaitlynn. Beautifully done. Excellent. That was really nice.
Definitely looks a little bit more daunting.
Oh yeah?
Still maybe my style from the power perspective, but it does look like it's going to require a little bit more technique than just smashing up the holds.
It's a little bit of both, yeah. It's not just strength, a little bit of thinking too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, enjoy. You have a try.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, come on. Come on. No way. Oh! I like the sequence though.
Worth the shot.
Let's go, Sam. Yeah, come on. Yeah, man, come on. Great effort. Woo. Go on, finish it off now. Yeah. Really, really good. Great effort. Okay, third and final boulder. We're going to have a look at this V6 blue slab. I find this one really hard. Have you tried this one before?
No.
Okay. I think you'll enjoy it. I know you're quite confident on slabs. I'm really interested to see how you do it, because I think knowing that it's a climb that isn't supposed to take much strength,
Yeah.
I did it after a bunch of goes, and I'm pretty sure I like power screamed when I did it. So I don't think I've done this in the way it can be done at its most easy, if I'm explaining that well. So okay, let's have a look at Kaitlynn doing it. We'll see what we learn. Whoa! You all right?
Yeah.
Good effort. How are you feeling about a tricky slab, Sam?
Far more nervous.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, slabs are definitely not my thing. I also orientate to a stiffer shoe, so
good and bad
bit,
sometimes,
yeah,
right?
good and bad. Slabs, it's not so great.
Okay.
But yeah, so fingers
Well,
crossed.
let's see how
but
it
we'll
goes.
see.
Have a try, man. I know what. Oh, he's crimping the volume. Go on, Sam. This is the tricky bit. That left foot is really bad. Oh! Go on, Sam! Oh! Good effort! Oh, good effort. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, hello, where's this going? Oh, come on, Sam. Come on, how is he on? Oh, Sam, that was so good. Okay, pause there. Really, really good. Thank you, Sam. Okay, so everyone's done their climbs. Now we're going to sit down and look at the footage together and talk about the differences. Let's start with the slab, because this one Kaitlynn did manage and Sam didn't manage in the time we gave you to try it.
Definitely the hardest for me.
Yeah, I also found that one the hardest by a mile actually. And I think that's a really, really interesting one because it's the one that would require the least strength.
Yeah.
Which I suppose actually then makes sense as to why Kaitlynn would feel more comfortable on that because it's just a more technical style.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're used to applying loads of strength to get through climbs, that's the one where it would work the least well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
let's talk about the main difference I saw though. Okay, on Kaitlynn's first attempt, she actually slipped off the, I'm not talking about it in my best confident phrasing, but this absolutely garbage foothold here.
The non-existent hole.
Yeah, you can't really tell from this angle, but it is really sheer. It doesn't have loads of friction. I think on this attempt, Kaitlynn puts loads and loads of weight on it.
Oh, wow.
Stays on it for ages, and then at the last second, just slips off it. Despite having slipped off it, she goes for the same method on her next go. So it's just loads and loads of weight straight over that foothold. I think even having fallen off it, a lot of trust that it's still usable.
Yeah.
And then after that move, actually, if you have managed to stand on this foothold, the rest of the sequence makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
So all of this, beautifully done, Kaitlynn.
Wow,
Really good work.
Yeah,
really
well
nice.
done. Lovely movement of the body.
Oh, I know,
It's
right?
really stable.
That transition over smearing on the volume is
really
really nice. And then Sam, interesting attempts. Like, main difference here is that, as I would phrase it, this particularly bad foothold doesn't feel possible to stand on until after you're standing on it.
Yeah.
Before that is a huge amount of trust, but I had exactly the same thing as you. When I first started putting my foot on it, it's like, well, this is terrible. I don't think I can use this. And I was really, really reluctant to commit to it. You do a couple of times, but don't have much success with it. And so you're instead going for options where you're basically skipping it out completely. Let's look at this, because I think you managed to use it a little bit on this attempt.
It just never, even when I really went to use it, it never at any point felt stable.
So yeah, okay, let's just look at this one here, because you do put a lot of weight onto it.
Yeah.
But you can see in the position you're in now, actually, although your left foot is there, most of the weight is still on the right foot there, still on the right hand here, and without enough weight on this foothold, then it slips off anyway. Which somehow you recover and almost do the climb anyway, which blew my mind. I don't know what grade you're climbing here, but it's not a V6 slab.
Presses and things like that feel really comfortable, so it kind of felt better.
It looked like it was going to work. But okay, let's talk about the interesting question of why is Kaitlynn able to use this foothold, and why are you finding it lots more difficult? In fact, finding it so difficult that actually you'd rather go for a much more powerful sequence. Kaitlynn has the benefit of more climbing experience. So okay, simple question, Kaitlynn. How many footholds as bad as this one or worse have you spent time standing on?
A lot.
A lot, yeah. So Kaitlynn kind of just has it in her comfort zone that she knows, oh, it feels terrible, but I've had enough experience now that if I just commit to it, it actually might stay. So more experience and more confidence makes that foothold more usable.
Yeah, definitely.
But then the other one is, if we look really closely, Kaitlynn's actually a lot more intentional about how she stands on that foothold. Kaitlynn picks a really specific part of the hold which has a tiny bit more friction, but it's also slightly further out from the wall, which means that she can just has a little bit more space to balance into. And then by contrast, I think you're aiming for the foothold, which sounds fair, whereas Kaitlynn is aiming for the specific, most usable part of the foothold. Yeah, I think you're hopping it around without really looking, hoping there'll be a good, more comfortable spot.
Putting any pressure on that.
I did not enjoy putting much pressure on it either, no. And then, this method here, it actually almost looks like it's going to work.
Yeah.
But you'll see, I think, because we'll get some B-roll of it, that crimp that you're using is bad.
It's tiny.
Yeah,
and almost just wasn't enough room to have two full. If it had two full hands on it, it'd been fine. But
each time it looked like it might work, but with that foothold so far out to the side and you having to put so much weight into it, just never quite came together. So really, really interesting differences on this one. Mostly just being more comfortable on what feel like unusable footholds made the difference of Kaitlynn basically had an easier sequence available because she was able to stand on this one.
What's really interesting for me to see as well is just how Kaitlynn uses her centre of gravity. Like, it's always over the hold that she's moving on.
When you put your weight onto that foothold, were you intentionally thinking about putting your centre of gravity straight over it, or were you just not thinking at all? It's just what natural happens.
In this situation, yes.
Yeah?
Sometimes it is just natural, but this time, yes, because I know it's bad and I have to swap over so I can then lean across.
Yeah, and really good. So, okay, really interesting first one. Let's look at the next one. The dyno was actually really interesting. Because we've talked about different experience levels and things like that, I was looking for the differences and expecting to go, well, Kaitlynn did these things much, much better, and Sam, used your strength.
Yeah.
Actually, no, man, you did the dyno so well. You both do it well, but let's talk about the different ways in which you both do it well. Clear difference that I'm sure people can see. You jump off different footholds. Yeah. You went from left foot on the lowest one and jumped all the way out. Yeah. Kaitlynn goes from left foot on the higher one, which I think is slightly easier. Okay. But they both made sense for each other. Yeah. The catch of the next hold I thought was actually really interesting. Sam, you land on the volume really confidently, stand straight up, and then, we were talking about it before I rewatched the videos. I was like, how did you not barn door that far? Because was it maybe that you just crushed the hold really powerfully? But actually, you land it really, really gently. You hop the feet out a little bit, but then you seem to have given it just the right amount of momentum that you land and catch it, and then kind of come to a stop there, which is exactly what you're aiming for.
I've heard the term dead point.
Yeah, really. Oh, okay, you do know a lot about dynamic movement. Very good. Now let's just have a look at the difference of when Kaitlynn does that dyno. Lands really well, slightly further away, and has given it slightly less momentum. Then has to extend a little bit harder out of this position. Uses a bit more momentum than she intended to, and then has to catch again. It's still, I'm talking about really small subtleties. You both execute this dyno really, really, really nicely. But actually, I think Kaitlyn's relies a little bit more on some clever timing and a bit more strength, just because she went a little bit further into it and used a bit more momentum.
The back flag was really nice to stop the swing.
Nice. So, okay, the rest of the sequence was pretty similar. There aren't that many options. You come out to the next one, you both put your foot up, then grab the finish. The only difference is when it comes to matching the finish hold, Kaitlynn put her left foot straight up there, you switch feet. There is probably a slight difference in how much strength you need to do those. By putting her left foot up on this bigger hold, Kaitlynn actually just gets a better angle on that right hand, whereas you're having to put a bit more weight into a worse foot hold. I don't think this is noticeable for you because it's a decent enough hold. You can hold it from any angle. So that brings us on to, I think, by far the most interesting one. Let's watch Sam's first. Let's watch Sam's first. Really cool watching you do this. Again, like all of the stuff you're doing, I'm like, oh my god, it's so relatable. This is exactly how I used to first climb all the time, and then really intentionally practiced trying to climb. Trying to climb more technically for reasons that we'll talk about in a minute. But you still do it, which I thought was really, really impressive because you use a really, really powerful sequence. So, okay, you both obviously start in the same place. You go left once, then you end up on the same heel hook that Kaitlynn uses, but she uses it at a slightly different point. You match hands, you then come both hands out, still in that heel hook, which then leaves you no option other than do a relatively powerful release. You do it without too much issue. You then go left hand up, and then mega impressive, huge, powerful move. Trying quite hard, but stuck it, and then did it on this attempt. Only other difference, I think, how you get to the finish hold. I think Kaitlynn brings her feet a little bit higher and uses slightly less power, but it's a decent hold, going to a decent hold. So
I think I just didn't read the end well enough.
You didn't need to.
Expected a foothold and there wasn't one.
You made up your own foothold, it's fine. So, okay, Kaitlynn does same stance as you, and there is another option here. Then she goes heel straight up, which means she doesn't have to do that really powerful bump. She can come straight over to this one, and then here's where it gets really interesting. She avoids that that cut loose that you did, brings her heel up first, which means she can just really, really gently come into that one without using as much power.
A lot less energy.
And then this move, which you did as a really powerful slap to that hold on the volume, Kaitlynn goes for a really, really clever position where she's, although not putting a small amount of force into this one, I think she finds the position which gives her the minimum amount of power into that hold. She's putting her hips really close into her heel to get as much weight into the foothold as she can. Then, like, you'll see, like, rocks really far in, so as much weight as possible is on there. And this looks like a much more consistent method that she can do it. It also takes a lot less power.
Really interesting to go back and try it that way, because that hold that you matched, I really don't. I think I'd have really struggled to match that. Because it felt really
Depending on where the feet are, I think you would. Like, don't get me wrong, it didn't look like an easy match or an easy move off it, but I don't think doing the massive power option that Sam went for would necessarily be doable for you right now. It's a big distance to an okay hold, but from a really, really bad one. Climbing is like kind of an interesting sport because there's not a correct and incorrect method. Like, you both did the climb. And I'm in no way, we're talking about efficiency, but I'm not saying that your method was bad and Kaitlynn's method was good. They're actually both good for different things. For example, Kaitlynn, if we wanted to train to become a more powerful climber, actually I might argue that the sequence you do doesn't help us do that as much. Instead, we should go for the most powerful moves we can, and we'd learn to get more power just by trying these moves. On the other hand, I've learned, similar to you, being really, really strong and having those really powerful options available is kind of a bit of a curse. Because, the massive power method you go for on this one works on the V5. Which then means we don't need to learn the more technical option. But if we came across the same moves, but all of the holds are just slightly worse, and it's now a V7 or a V8, actually, annoyingly, you're probably strong enough that it would still work. But at some point, that method would become so much more difficult that it wouldn't work anymore. And suddenly we're playing catch up because we haven't had to learn the more technical option, which Kaitlynn does instinctively.
And I think as climbers, you get so obsessed with trying the next new climb that you wouldn't go back and try a different method. So I have a habit of, once I tick it off, I'm like, oh, it's done, move on to the next.
Exactly. Hey, Sam, where are you? No, you were late. I'm sorry. You got it telepathically.
I know. Count down, 3 in your head, 3, 2, 1. Then
Hey! We're finished. God, well done, you two. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Kaitlynn, thank you so much for joining me. Sam, thank you again. You two were both excellent. If you enjoyed the video, please
like
and subscribe.
Wow, you nailed it. And leave some comments. All of that is really, really helpful. It boosts the algorithm. It gives us more opportunity to make more videos. I don't know why I'm saying all this. So anyway, bye. Thanks for watching. See you next time, folks.